Hello there, football fans. Welcome to the Mercurial Trequartistas Gamecast, your weekly dose of Premier League passion, predictions, and proper football talk. By way of introduction, I'm Dathan, and joining me is my co-host, the man who spots a future star before the scouts have even printed the report. Mark, how are we feeling?
Oh well, we're all good. There's been a little bit of a gap, hasn't there, since the last episode? Rumors are that you had tech issues, but we know the real reason. The real reason was that your laptop got trapped in a Chelsea pre-match huddle. Took a while to get out.
Well, we will talk about that, but I was also about to say that we have been away for a few weeks. I think it was due to a combination of the FA Cup, technical issues for me, and I think illness for one of us as well. 1 week. But we are back. All that is behind us now, and here we are today. So, what's on the menu? As always, we will start with Premier League talking points. We will then move on to our second segment, which is fantasy football tips for the weekend ahead. And we will round things off with our third section, the obscure facts segment, which is gathering momentum like a pet press conference before a big final. So, if we move on to Premier League talking points, let's dive straight into it. Spurs and Eagle Tudor. Tudor lost his first four matches. Spurs dropped to just above the relegation zone. He came close to being sacked after heavy defeats, especially away to Atletico. I think Spurs are 16th at the moment, only 1 point clear of relegation. Tudor's also been charged by the FA for misconduct, so the situation is fragile. He's only been here a few weeks, but explosive. What do you reckon?
Well, it's why they brought him in, isn't it? They went for the firebrand manager to get a reaction from the players to get out of trouble, and it's it's certainly been dramatic. It would have been very easy to see it all go so very wrong after the first leg in the Champions League, which was a it was a farce match. Yeah, the things that went on with the keeper, the reactions to subbing him off after 17 minutes. I mean that could have been disastrous. They responded well, backs against the wall, got a good result straight away in the first league match at Anfield, and a very creditable win against Atletico in the second leg. So I think my prediction for them to stay up i- is going to hold. I'm going to stick with that. I still think they've got enough about them to stay out of it, but it's going to be anything but easy, and it looks like it's certainly going to be a fiery close to the season in a lot of the Spurs matches.
I think he's very open. He's very honest, and it's quite interesting and quite, well, what's the word I'm after? Different, because a lot of press conferences and sorts of interviews are just so measured these days. And in fairness, most managers are under pressure at the best of times, so that comes across. But it's still early in his tenure. He's not going to likely be here next season. I think Spurs have already thought that Tudor won't be the manager next season. He's a stopgap. But who do you think might sort of step in? I mean, Poch, they keep saying, but is there anyone else, do you reckon?
Well, I mean, the um the favorite with the fans does seem to be Pochettino. I'm not convinced whether that'll be a good move for him. But it could literally be anybody. There's going to be World Cup managers that are up for grabs as soon as this World Cup's over, and I'm sure they've got their eye on somebody. I think Tudor like you said, it was always meant to be a stopgap. He is a fiery, hot-headed personality. They wanted him to come in. They wanted him to get a reaction quickly to get out of trouble. It didn't quite go to plan with the first few games, but it looks like they're sort of bringing in the old siege mentality and and building from what was a very bad place. But yeah, managers coming in, who knows? I mean, Tottenham has he's got a good history. I still think they had the right managers in place before, just didn't back him. So if they're going to go for a big name this time, they've got to give them time and let them build a team. And yeah, patience has got to come into it. And unfortunately for the last how many Spurs managers, the board haven't given them that, and that's why they've got a mix of players that have been brought in for lots of different playing styles that haven't necessarily been able to fit together. So I'll have to wait and see. But I suspect they've got their eye on somebody who's potentially tied up until after the World Cup's over and done with.
Yeah. I'm going to praise Tudor on one point, and that's the way he's utilised Archie Gray. I think Thomas Frank, throws out Archie Gray. He perhaps didn't quite trust him, but the way he's been playing in recent weeks has been outstanding. I know they signed him a few years ago from Leeds. It's been a bit of a stop-start beginning to his Spurs career, but the last few games, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And Tudor, he deserves a lot of credit for that.
Oh
So,
yeah, it's always brave to play a young player anyway. But
mm,
what he's got out of him in
yeah.
the last few games, brilliant. They're going to be fine. They'll get out of it.
Good. If we move on to the second story, which you already touched on, I know it was a few weeks ago, but the Chelsea huddle. Okay. So this took place a few weeks ago prior to the kickoff against Newcastle. Chelsea players formed their usual pre-match huddle around the centre spot ball, and referee Paul Tierney, he stood his ground inside the huddle. And it was a bizarre sight of players surrounding him while the team talk continued. Honestly, Mark, the first time I saw it, I was like, what in the blue hell is going on here? I think a lot of pundits and former refs have labelled the incident various things. I mean, I've used the term. I mean, I've heard the terms used, like, farce. It's a terrible look for match officials. And Chelsea manager Liam Rosinia, he's publicly criticised Tierney, arguing the referee focused on the huddle and decisions, including a disputed penalty. But oh, it's just comedy. It really is. What do you reckon?
Um, I mean, it's a good audition for the upcoming Carry On Chelsea film, isn't it? It was just bizarre. I mean, as far as pre-match routines go, or rituals, or superstitions, fine, whatever. We've seen pre-match huddles before. We've seen players do different things as they're crossing the touchline for luck, or wearing the lucky socks, or putting the socks on the right way, or whatever. But this one, where they've sort of been insisting on surrounding the centre circle, in what what you can only assume is their way of sort of trying to make some kind of intimidatory point to the opposition, like this is our circle, this is our pitch. Uh, bit weird. I mean, the more complicated the pre-match ritual is, the more chance that one day somewhere along the line you're not necessarily going to be able to do it, or you'll get met with a reaction that's a little bit odd. I mean, do you remember the rugby with the England almost triangle formation around the hacker?
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, very bizarre.
Okay.
But the fact is, that's generally the referee's position, to be at the centre of the pitch before the kickoff. And for Chelsea to sort of insist he gets out of the way, and for him to just go, nope, this is my spot, and I am not moving. It became a crazy battle of wills, and the obstinacy on both sides was absolutely hilarious. Um, I suppose Rosinia has to try and say it's the referee's fault, but to be honest, everybody involved with that just looked a little bit daft.
I think so. I understand that Chelsea have mentioned that they will drop the centre circle huddle in the future.
Oh no. How will they cope with the match ahead?
So they might have to think of something else to sort of get the blood flowing pre-match. I don't want to say it, but I suppose I will. It's just Chelsea being Chelsea, isn't it? So
Yeah. Chelsea got a Chelsea. The thing is, as well, though, I mean, there was a point where, was it Palmer kind of put his arm around the referee to try and get him involved in the huddle? And then I think the referee kind of gave him a little bit of a look like, you do know that's touching the referee. I mean, technically, he could have got a yellow for that before the match had started. You're not meant to touch the ref at all. So You know,
Oh,
Rosini might be coming out and blaming the referee, but I think the referee actually exercised a little bit of discretion there because that
oh,
could have been a
well,
pre-match yellow.
I think, I mean, he had to, and also he was perhaps of all the parties involved in the huddle. So, well, I mean, by that I mean all the players and the ref. He was perhaps the only one who was thinking clearly because, he wanted to get out there, and he was very surprised as well. But
Mm.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's technically obstruction as well. I mean, you know, what's going to happen if a team decides, right, well, we'll form a huddle around the ball and just dribble it along? I mean, you do get into sort of scrum rugby football territory again.
Hmm.
There's a reason the rules split.
We move on to story three, and this is a corker. So, Mark and I, we covered the AFCON tournament earlier this year. Because we did so with pleasure. It was a great tournament. But the Confederation of African Football's appeal board, they've overturned the AFCON final result, ruling that Senegal have forfeited the match by walking off the pitch in protest during stoppage time of the final against Morocco. So the result is now officially recorded as a 3-0 win for Morocco, who are declared champions. A quick bit of legalese here. So, the Confederation of African Footballs, they relied on Articles 82 and 84 of the AFCON regs, which state that a team that leaves the field before the end of the match without the referee's authorization is deemed to have forfeited, even if they later return and finish the game, which Senegal actually did. Um, at the moment, Morocco are officially champions, but the matter is not finally settled, not by a long shot, and it won't be until the CAS they rule on Senegal's appeal, which could take many months from now. It's a story that keeps on rolling for us, Mark, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I do have a verdict on this, but in true AFCON style, I'm not going to release it until many months down the line.
So, so
No, it's true. Okay, I'll give you a sneak peek. Yeah.
oh, go on.
Um, yes, it was a bizarre situation. They did leave the pitch, and they did leave the pitch for long enough. For me personally, I think the manager at Senegal is at fault for telling his players to leave the pitch in the first place. And then they all sort of share the responsibility. Bar Sadio Mane, who stayed on the pitch and was trying to get people back on, of letting it go on for as ridiculously long as it did.
Hmm,
I think it's up to the referee there to enforce it then and there. If they're refusing to come back on, that's it. At that point, it's 0-0, penalty given, the other team's walked. You give it then. I think the referee had a big pressure call to make, and he didn't necessarily know what to do. But if he calls it there and goes, fine, well, you've walked off, you've conceded, then there's probably less controversy than there is right now. Because by having the referee allow them to come back after the set time, you then open up the situation where the penalty got missed. Senegal got a very good winner and they win the match on the pitch. Now we did actually say that
hmm.
quite a bit ago that appeals had gone in, and Morocco were contesting how long Senegal had left the pitch for. I didn't see the decision being switched around and just going, yeah, okay, 3-0 win the other way, even though on the pitch it was a 1-0 defeat. It's messy. Senegal are currently refusing to hand over the silverware, the medals, the trophy, whatever. They don't recognise the decision. They're going to appeal it. Quite honestly, I think, given that the referee didn't enforce it on the pitch at the time, there's got to be a replay at a neutral venue. Take it from there. You don't
Hmm.
really want finals to be decided off the pitch, especially when there was a result ratified by the referee at the full time whistle, despite the fact that one team basically did a runner. But whatever happens, we're looking at something that's just completely unprecedented in football and a
Hmm.
completely bizarre situation.
I
Great on the
think,
entertainment front, though.
yeah. You summarized it beautifully, Mark. And the key message from it that I think is that we don't want finals to be decided off the pitch. It's as simple as that. So there's a World Cup in a few months' time. Where they're going to fit it in, I don't know, because after the World Cup, all the major leagues they start up their seasons, but maybe it could be squeezed in at the end of the year, or I don't know. It's not for us to think about, but I think it would be the right thing to do. Let the players have one more go. Seeing as the rules were breached, things were a bit controversial. Let the players decide and let the football do the talking once more.
I mean, there has been precedent. There have been times when an ineligible player's been fielded and there's been a result the other way. I think Leeds and Stuttgart had one in the 90s in the Champions League. Stuttgart beat Leeds and knocked them out.
Yes.
Stuttgart had fielded an ineligible player, but they didn't overturn the result. There'd been a result on the pitch. They replayed the tie as a one-off neutral
Yes.
venue,
Hmm.
single shootout match, basically, and Leeds won comfortably and went through.
Yes.
And that resolved it.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
I think, had Morocco won outright, fine, fair enough.
Yeah.
But the fact that the referee was perfectly fine letting the game continue, that's given them a problem. So, yeah,
Mm.
replay, neutral venue, go from there. Because at the moment, it's effectively just making the football governing body just look a little bit, I'll politely say, not good at their job, and go with that.
Thank you, Mark. No, that was put very nicely. So, well, there you have it, everyone. About as many takes as Righty, Shearer, and Lineker enjoying a pint down the local. We will, of course, keep an eye on these stories in the weeks ahead. And if we now move on to segment two, fantasy football, it's a strange week, Mark. It's a blank game week. So, I think I'm going to keep this one very short. I mean, but if I start off by saying that with Arsenal and City playing the League Cup final this weekend and Palace and Wolves not playing, many fantasy football managers are short of a full 11. I'm short of a full 11, and I haven't upgraded my team at all. I'm playing a guy in our mini league who's pretty good. So let's see where that goes. But I'd advise you all not to panic. Save the free hit chip for a bigger blank or double game week, which I think from memory there's at least two or three which are still upcoming, and maybe look to play 9 to 10 players rather than taking an unnecessary points hit or sort of losing out on a transfer that could have been saved for later down the line. In terms of key selections, I would go for Bruno Fernandes as captain. Um, go for Newcastle defenders. They are in pretty good form at the moment. Fulham plays versus Burnley. And in terms of key picks, perhaps Anthony Gordon up front. He will probably do pretty well this weekend. And Anton Stack at Leeds. Still doesn't cost that much, but he's a pretty good enabler by all matters. Any thoughts, Mark?
Well, this has come at a good time for me because this week where all the Arsenal City players are missing and their opposition players are missing, I'm playing the bottom of the league. So there was no way I was playing against Haaland FC this week, whether he's in the team or not. He's not playing. So unfortunately, I think for the player that is bottom of the league, it kind of looks like a team where he's kind of given up on the season. There's a lot of players missing. He only has Cole Palmer captained, so I felt like I could take the hit and go for -4. So I've basically made sure I've got a full 11 playing.
Yeah.
Reece James and Salah, I've taken them out and I've gone double Fulham because they're playing Burnley. So I've gone for
Yep.
Anderson at the back and Harry Wilson
Yeah.
in for Salah, and I've captained him as well.
Ooh.
So long as Palmer doesn't have an absolute blinder and do one of them things where he gets four goals in a game, Kind of feeling fairly confident on this one. This felt like the right time to take the -4. There's no
Yeah.
Haaland,
Okay.
so I'm hoping for the other guy. There's no chance.
May the force be with you, Mark.
Oh.
Oh wait, or is it something else we say normally? But
Star Trek? Something like that.
oh, yeah, Star Trek. Yeah, yeah, Star Trek, of
Yeah, yeah,
course. Yes,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. Okay, if we move on to the obscure facts section. So, for those of you who are new, this is section three. We talk about obscure facts and fun stories in football every week. Do you have a story for us, Mark, this week?
Oh, right. Okay. Well, this is sort of linking in with James Milner becoming the most the player with the most Premier League appearances. That's a long career. So for this obscure fact, I've gone the other way. I've gone for the shortest Premier League career, and it's 2 seconds, and it's debatably 2 seconds. It's going back to the late 90s. Arsenal are playing Man United. Lundberg's put Arsenal 1-0 ahead. Keane's responded and got a brace. It's 2-1 to Man United at Highbury. In the last minute, the referee gives a free kick to Arsenal. Bergkamp floats it in. Upson reaches, hits the header. It gets saved by Van der How. It's scrambling around in the 6 yard box, and then Martin Keown steams in like an unstoppable juggernaut and cleans out ball, Van der How, anything in his path. The ball's in the net. Arsenal are celebrating like they've got a last minute equaliser, and the ref disallows it for a foul on Van der How, who ends up injured. He's stretchered off. And this is where the shortest Premier League appearance kicks in. Because on the bench, Man United have got what you could probably describe as sort of like a youth/reserve goalkeeper. It's Nick Culkin. He comes on. He goes all the way over to the 6 yard box. The free kick's been given, but because it's a foul in the 6 yard box, it's automatically made a goal kick. He takes it. The ball's in the air. And the referee blows the whistle before the ball's even landed. So it's not even finished its trajectory, and that's it. Whistle goes, game over, and that is your debatably 2 second Premier League career.
I mean, it sounds like a cliche, but I'm sure he will be telling his grandkids about that. But
It
no,
was
but
it was I mean,
yeah,
it's the most legendary, yeah, it's got to be a legendary sort of like contribution to a Premier League match. I'm not sure how it
absolutely.
works on Opta stats though, because technically if the pass isn't allowed to land, is it a loose pass or does he end up with like 100% possession record?
See, you've obviously given this an awful
I've thought
lot of
about
thought.
this.
So yeah, yeah, absolutely. You know, these
Don't
things.
think it'll be beaten though.
Well, uh, who knows? Who knows? That was a good one. I like that. Any idea what Nick Culkin is up to these days, or?
I think after that match, I think he went on to QPR,
Hmm.
made about 20 something appearances there, and
Oh,
then
good.
ended
Yeah.
up, I think injury sort of kicked in at that point.
Mm.
I think there might have been a little bit at Ratcliffe Borough, but I'm not 100% on that. But I think it was one of those where, yeah, injury interrupted progress kind of thing. But despite that, he'll always have this.
He'll always have this. Well, let's wish him well. It's a very nice story. Thanks, Mark. Well, that's all we have time for this week. So until the next time, keep the faith and do like and subscribe to our channels on various social media and get involved there if you are so inclined. We are back sometime next week with more TMTG goodness. And I'm going to get this right this time. This isn't Star Trek, but till the next time, until all are one. Thanks.